UNC is playing very well. The last six games
Shut up.
they beat Duke. Look,
I knew it
you
was coming.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today on this Throw Down Thursday edition, academic and athletic consultant for the Odd Coaches Podcast, George Ockert. George, it's championship week. How you doing, sir?
Hurt, man, hurt.
It's spring ahead.
I've heard about this spring. I'm heard about losing my hour, but what is High Point doing? That's all.
We'll get to that shortly. Captain for life, Will Cotton. Will, spring ahead, fall back. How you doing, man?
what's going on? I'm ready, man. This is the time when it actually matters for college basketball now. I'm ready to roll, baby.
All right, it's championship week in segment 1, all things men's tournament. Championship week. Segment 2, all things women's championship week. And in segment 3, we're going to talk about some college coaching decisions and how they went through their process. But first, men's net ranking. Houston's 1, Purdue's 2, UConn's 3, Arizona is 4, Tennessee's 5, Auburn 6, Alabama 7, Iowa State 8, Duke is 9, at least for a short time, and UNC is 10. Only 2 teams in the country, gentlemen, are on extended winning streaks. University of South Florida and now Little Rock, not Arkansas, Little Rock.
What's extended? What's extended now? What's
10
extended?
and more.
Oh,
over
yeah,
10.
yeah. UNC
Over 10.
is close, but they're not there
Over
yet.
10. Over 10. So, Will, what has caught your eye this week in the men's game?
UNC is playing very well. The last 6 games they beat.
Shut up.
They beat Duke. Look,
I knew it was coming. I'm
not a big UNC or a Duke fan. But I see that you win at the right time. You're supposed to be rolling. Now you're rolling. You won 6 in a row and you're about to hit the tournament. You're going to be hot. You're better looking than Duke, who lost. So I think it's good. We'll see a lot. I think we're going to see what's going on. I think there's teams who are going to show that, hey, I've been waiting now for the tournament and now go hard for it. I don't think UNC is very good. I don't think Duke is very good. There's nothing that I would excite me now. Next year, very excited about Duke, but nothing right now.
George, what's caught your eye this week in the men's game?
UNC got at least 2 dudes that are 28 years old. So we're gonna leave that alone. And I think UNC is going to be a tough out. I think they are a good team. They're going to be a tough out. And they play the 2 teams that play real old school are UNC and like Purdue. They play an inside out because you got to go in because honestly, outside of Edey, who's going to name a better big man than that 30-year-old Baycott down in North Carolina? I mean, there's not many. There's not many.
We went to school together, right?
Yeah, I know. Y'all pledged the same year, didn't you, Will?
Right, exactly.
So besides that, though, I don't even want to talk about college basketball because I don't know what is High Point doing. You win the entire regular season in the Big South Conference, and then you lose in the semifinals. That's going to cost us a tournament. That's going to cost us a tournament bid. So, I'm hurt, Keith, hurt.
Okay, story of the week. George tipped it off. Conference tournaments. Now, fans, there are a lot of things going on in college basketball right now, but we're just going to focus on the conference tournaments. So, in the Ohio Valley Conference. By the way, get your pencils out because we're going to throw some names at you to follow as you get your brackets set up. So Morehead State won the Ohio Valley tournament. George mentioned the Big South tournament. So that's going to be the Longwood or UNC Asheville. The Missouri Valley Conference, you need to root for Indiana State and Robbie Avila. We need him in the tournament so everybody can see how good of a player he is. In the Atlantic Sun, you're going to have Stetson or Austin P with the great chant, "Let's go P." In the Sun Belt, you got App State, High to Women and Children, or JMU, that's James Madison for the national audience. Southern Conference, McNeese or Texas A&M Corpus Christi. In the Horizon League, look for Oakland. In the Northeast Conference, look for Merrimack. In the Coastal Athletic Conference, and fellas, they have fallen off. Charleston should come out of that. In the West Coast Conference, you got St. Mary's or Gonzaga. In the Summit League, please stay away from South Dakota State. Those guys can play, and let's just say their season. Southland, Big Sky Conference has Eastern Washington. Patriot League has Colgate. You don't want to see Colgate in your bracket because, again, they're a seasoned team. That means they're old guys. Okay. All right. America East, Vermont. John Becker does a great job every year. Mid-East, the MEAC, Norfolk State should win that thing. In the Southwest Conference, Alcorn State, or we're really rooting for gambling. Shout out to Oshawa. Big 12. Fellas, I actually think Iowa State or Baylor is going to win their conference tournament. I actually think they're going to win that one. Mountain West, Utah State or Nevada.
Wow.
Big East, UConn or Creighton. Creighton's playing good ball, and Marquette's not. In the Metro Atlantic Conference, you got Rider or Quinnipiac, the place to be at. Mid-American Conference is Toledo or Ohio. Conference USA, watch out for Sam Houston. Will, I'm in agreement with you in the Atlantic Coast Conference. UNC should win that because, quite frankly, the ACC's not been playing well. That's not a good conference this year, and they will be lucky, folks, to get 5 teams in. If they get 5 teams in, consider it luck because we follow the net rankings, and they're not in it. Okay. Pac-12, I like Arizona.
They lost last night.
Again, for their tournament.
Yeah.
So them losing last night actually helps them in the tournament because as a coach, I got your attention now.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to lose to get their attention. So you could be B. I can hear this. Will, you can hear me now. So you thought you did something. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So now you got your attention. All right. You're smelling yourself anyway. I wouldn't say smell it anyway. Big West, Cal Irvine or San Diego. If I missed them. In the Atlantic 10, and they've had some crappy ball this year too. Dayton should win that thing, but go George Mason. Shout out to Follerin and Tony Skinn. They won 20 games this year. So I'm rooting for you guys, man. Go get them.
Yep.
Southeast Conference, Tennessee. They're good, man. They're good. They're really
tough.
The American, University of South Florida is one of the hottest teams in the country. And the Big Ten, Purdue should win that thing. So, George, in terms of conference tournaments, is there any team you're kind of following this week as we head into Selection Sunday?
As we go in, I want to see how Duke fares in that tournament. The SEC tournament should be very entertaining.
Kentucky's playing well too.
Tennessee lost yesterday, actually, in Kentucky. And they got it. Yeah, and Kentucky's playing real well. So I want to see how they is. Alabama's playing good. Ole Miss is playing pretty good. So is so you got a number of teams there that's going to be a fight. So we're going to see. And Tennessee's beatable. Is very beatable. So I'm going to be watching that. And then I'm going to see that Royal Rumble that they called the Big 12. Because that thing, good God, man. And then it was shocking last night to see how bad Houston beat up on Kansas. It was ridiculous. I looked at the ticker and I was like, well, what will stop? I turned back. I was like, is that halftime? And then I flipped again. I was like, Houston just put their foot down on Kansas last night. So that meat grinder, whoever comes out of that meat, I'm telling you right now, whoever wins that meat grinder of a championship earned their spot. So those 2 things will be interesting to see. And just like I said, all the mid majors, I'm mad, upset now. High Point lost, so I ain't got 2. How do you do that?
Go Lopes.
How do you do that?
You
bang everybody all season, and you go.
It happens every year. So,
I know.
Will, Anybody you watching during championship week? Anybody catch your eye?
Oh man, I'm gonna show some love to a Springbrook alum, Matthew Blanc. He used to play with Springbrook about a couple years ago, but he's playing with Quinnipiac right now, and he is
Place to be at.
balling. This kid is balling. Can jump out the gym. He had 25 last night, and he was 8 for 15. So that's some great shooting right there, over 50%. Watch out, man. He's one of those kids that can change a game just by the way he plays, man. Defense, big games, big plays. I mean, watch him. I think that's going to be a very exciting game and a very excited team. And I'm glad you guys mentioned him. Also, shout out to Lou Brookins, who graduated from Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac.
So, yes, sir. So we're riding with them, man.
All
Let's
right.
ride with them.
So fans, I'm extra excited because for the first time since 2018, I'm actually going to the Final Four, and I'm taking intern extraordinaire 0.5 with me. CK will be doing some research out there with players and coaches. So I'm looking for as many of the Power Five big fishes to come because they know how to do a Final Four. So in segment 2, we'll talk about the women's game. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler and Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the iCoaches podcast as we talk Arizona travel. And
Remember what happened?
Two.
Remember what happened to Jason Kidd out there? Be careful.
All right, segment 2. We've got the women's net rankings. South Carolina is 1, UConn's 2, Texas is 3, Stanford is 4, Iowa's 5, UCLA is 6, LSU is 7, Notre Dame is 8, Ohio State is 9, and Gonzaga is 10. We've had some teams on extended winning streaks to watch as we go into the tournament. South Carolina held on to their winning streak. They might lose the day of this taping, but they're going in hot. Florida Gulf Coast, Eastern Washington, High Point, Georgia on the women's side, still got a shot. Middle Tennessee, Cleveland State, Fairfield. I am curious to see if they can win their tournament because they're on a long winning streak too. Toledo, Norfolk State, Drake, UNLV, Sacred Heart, Lamar, Jackson State, South Dakota State. Don't get them in the first round. And Gonzaga. Will anything catch your eye this week? Certain young lady is in the Pac-12 championship game today.
Oh yeah. Juju Watkins I'm still riding. She's been very, she's been basically what she's been doing all season, man, just dropping buckets. They mentioned that she's actually on a faster pace. That she's actually scored more than Caitlin Clark did as a freshman. Yep. Hard to believe she's going to stay 4 years, but argue in your barbershop if you want to talk about that. But yeah, that's it, man. I'm excited. I'm ready to run through it, man. People are actually going to see her because they're not going to be on 10 p.m. or
11:30 on a Wednesday night.
So that'll be good.
All right, George. High Point still in the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. What caught your eye this week?
Unlike the men's team, the High Point ladies, the Panthers, they know how to win because they've been to the tournament before. So I'm just putting my back on. You know, they win the tournament. I have my shirt on next week, so we can go ahead and ride with that. The other thing is, you know, even when South Carolina's beat, they're not beat because I don't know how they get the girl who hasn't had a 3-point shot ever, and hits the game winner to beat Tennessee. So you know, it's chalk away around the board. I guess we're gonna ride with it. At least we'll get some good games in the tournament. We'll see.
We're going to get some great games in the tournament.
Yeah.
And again, story of the week, conference tournament week. The women's game plays a few days earlier in most cases than the men's. So we don't have everybody's result, but should be pretty good. Ohio Valley Conference. Southern Indiana got screwed. Our Little Rock is going to go in because of the transition rule that I just don't like the transition rule. You got to wait X amount of years before you can qualify for the tournament. If you can go, you can go. We talked about that during football season with JMU and a couple other schools. Man, that's a dated rule. But anyway, Big Ten, Iowa should win that thing. Southern Conference, Chattanooga, ACC. We're looking at NC State or Notre Dame. The SEC and the big tournament, South Carolina and LSU should make a lot of noise. Atlantic 10, Richmond and Rhode Island. But shout out to the George Mason's women's team who, let's just say the officiating didn't work out their way, and it should have. So I won't scream and yell, but yeah, that was a bad call. And when the conference has to say sorry, it just means it just didn't go the way it's supposed to go. Pac-12, look for USC and Stanford to make noise. Big South, that's High Point. You've got the Sun Belt. Big East should be UConn rolling through. Horizon League in the West Coast Conference is Gonzaga. Summit League, you got the Big 12, you got the Big Sky. In the American Conference, you got the Mountain West, Southland, America East, Mid-America Conference. Western Athletic and the WAC, they play really good ball out there. I wish Robert was here because he would definitely give us some nuggets. MEAC, Norfolk State should win that thing. Ivy League, when they come in the tournament, they can play. So again, you've got a lot going on with the women's game. Will, is there any team outside of USC you're interested in seeing in terms of the March Madness and the national tournament coming next week? Is there any team you're looking out for?
Lady Johnnies, Lady Terps. That's all.
Well, they won't be in the tournament. They'll be in the NIT.
It's all good. I got to ride with the alum. You know, I got to ride with. I got to ride with my alum. You got to ride with my team, man. They, I ride with them. But yeah, UConn is definitely they have a lot they want to prove. They're getting back to the tournament. I know they're trying to show that, hey, this is our last ride with the buckets, and they're trying to see if they can do something. We'll see, man. I think it's going to be a very exciting tournament. I think it's going to be a lot of parity, and the same excitement that we're getting now during the season is going to even turn up even more because now they got an actual big stage that people actually want to see, and I think it's going to be better than the men's tournament. I'm gonna keep real with you. Okay, so I'm excited. I'm ready for that. I'm actually going to focus on it. And I might even join the little tournament bracket joint for this one. It's not going to be what it used to be, but
sheet of integrity. George, I'm going to throw this question at you as we get ready. South Carolina or the field, sir? What would you say?
I got to take, just on odds, I just got to take the field because after last year, I got to take the field. And a couple of reasons. SEC has some strong teams. So there's always I wouldn't even say there's a chance it would happen with an SEC team, but it'll make the tournament fun. I'm really paying attention to the Pac-12 because they got a lot of good teams out there. Because Oregon was leading for a long time until Stanford started catching up, and you got Juju with USC. So they're going to be they're going to be interesting. So I got to take the
field. Okay.
I got to take the field, man. Okay. Even though I bet both of them.
LSU ain't no slouch.
LSU, no.
They trying to repeat. They trying to get on history. So like you said, George, it's hard to take South Carolina, and especially when you didn't win last year. I can
I
see
Didn't
know.
y'all
win.
And see, that's the thing. LSU can't beat South Carolina straight up, but if
They don't have to.
they don't have to,
Yeah.
because if South Carolina slips up, LSU will sneak right in there. So
Yeah.
All right. So when we get back, fans, a lot of recent college football coaching moves. Coaches are now speaking out about those moves. We'll be right back to discuss that on the Odd Coaches podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@cksaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 3. A couple of coaches have spoken out about why they have made whatever changes they make. And fellas, we're going to start off with Nick Saban. Former Alabama head coach Nick Saban knew that his time was coming to an end. Saban is 72, and in a recent interview with ESPN, he said he contemplated retirement shortly after last season and told the athletic director that he felt his coaching career was coming to the end. But here's what I wanted to talk about. Here's some of Saban's comments about players, and I quote, "I was really disappointed in the way the players acted after the SEC, after the college football playoff championship games. You got to win with class, you got to lose with class, and we had opportunities to win the game, and we didn't do it. And then showing your ass and being frustrated and throwing helmets and doing that stuff, that's not who we are, and that's not what we promoted in our program." So when they got back, a couple of other things happened. He said, quote, "I thought we could have a hell of a team next year, and then maybe 70 or 80% of the players you talk to, all they wanted to know was two things. What assurances do they have that they're going to play because they're thinking about transferring, and how much are you going to pay me? So I'm saying to myself, maybe this doesn't work anymore." Will, you're a player who played for a coach who cared a lot. What do you think about Saban's comments?
He didn't have to say that. He didn't have to say that. I mean, he didn't. I mean, understand that he's becoming, distant for that, I mean, it's unfortunate that he would actually throw his team like that. I mean, there's a better way to do things. You could say, hey, I don't have the passion anymore, or, this game is changing and these kids are great, da 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 da. He's just complaining. He's just complaining, and he's throwing it under his teams. And I'm just like, dude, like, again, you are 60 years old,
72.
and you're looking at 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, and you're saying, well, how could you do that? Why are you thinking about that? Why don't you be a leader? Why would you throw them under the bus like that? Why wouldn't you say, you can't even talk to kids about things like that? Yeah, because that's real. How much am I going to pay? How much am I playing? How much am I going to make? Because it's not a secret. You know what I'm saying? I think Saban is just another example that he's a little bit too older, longer in the tooth. And he's outside of the NCAA, what they're working in. I didn't want to hear that. It's unfortunate that he would actually talk about his players like that and things like that, and saying, "Oh, you're making him come off as selfish. You're making him come off as entitled." But they give you all the time that you need, coach. When you needed them and the families didn't need them, they were at the practices, the games, the weight room, all that stuff. And you worried about that they're asking about their career. I mean, what's no different than going to a college professor and saying, well, hey, I know I'm your best student, but how am I, what you going to help me? Are you going to get on? Are you going to get a letter, a recommendation? Can I put you on my resume? Can I put you on as yeah, because at the end of the day, bro, we moving on to the professional ranks. This ain't just like some fun thing that we doing. He needs to keep it real. Like, this is a job now for people. This is a job, and now this is money. So if you're offended for that, then this is not the right place for him. And I'm glad that he saw that and he's stepping out, because the last thing he wants to be is just be here being anti and be a villain, So I think he's making the right decision. I don't think this is no longer for him. If he can't have those conversations with those kids and have those real conversations, then I don't think he's ready to be a coach anymore. And I'm glad he saw that.
All right, George, you're an athletic director, and this is what your coach said to you. What are you thinking, sir?
Yeah, I think Will's right. I think it passed. I think you see the times it passed Saban by, because he said something to me that was profound, though, in that interview. He said, we used to have discussions with kids about how to have a successful NFL career. Now the kids want to know how much time I'm going to get to play, and how much money am I getting to pay. And you see the landscape change. So kids are thinking about, instead of future, get the money, I'm getting the money now.
Right now.
My question, and my question's going to be, how prepared are our kids going to be coming into the league? That's where the rubber is going to meet the road. They can make that couple $1 million every year they're going to make from NIL while they're at Alabama, while they're at Georgia, whatever. But they want to continue their career, because let's be honest, if you go to a big name school like that, everybody's interest is, I want to get to the league. So you want to get to the league. Let's see how long their league career lasts, because that's the real career. That's going to be the sustaining one. And it also showed to me that it's going to take a new breed of coach to be able to be in. And it's going to eventually, we have turmoil now, but it's going to even itself out, because there's going to be people that put in the work and get coached and become good professionals. And there's going to be guys that going to come in and just live off their college status, get drafted, and flame out in the league real quick. So, and it's good, as we always say, it's going to come down to who wants it more, who's going to sacrifice more and do what's necessary. So as much as we have an uproar about things, it's going to it's going to police itself in the end. You're going to get it figured out. It'll figure itself out over that.
Yeah.
But the worst part is, do you know the worst part is? You knew, and I'm talking about Saban, you knew in 2022 that you were talking about retirement, yet you were still going out, pulling people, getting scholarships, selling people with your product, and we're going to be great. We wish you had you. And there was kids who actually came out and they said, they were like, man, like, if I had known that he was going to retire, I wouldn't go to Alabama. I didn't, so at the same time, like, he's just, it's a little selfish. It's a little selfish. And it's not in terms of it, but it's selfish in terms of he's selfish. Like, this is how I feel. And there's not people that want to hear from such a, like a great coach. You never hear him say stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know. It just puts you in a bad look or bad image, in my opinion.
But look, he's been doing a certain system for so long and has been very successful in that system. So now now he's got to change. When you got a system that works, you ain't gonna change it. So he's gonna have problems with it. So of course he gonna come out. It can't be him, because he knows his system works. So it's got to be the kids. You see what I'm saying? So that's where his mentality is. That's where his mentality is.
But I don't know, but I can see. But he is such a legend. For him to throw the kids under the bus, kind of like, yeah, I know we lost, but it's because of their classmates and they didn't want to, and I don't feel like they wanted it. Or I'm like, come on, man, like you're an amazing coach. Why even say that? Just
what do you expect? He's 7, 8 national championships in. And how many NFL players has he put in? It's got to be the kids. It can't be him. He gonna be the old man on the lawn.
They didn't lose. I mean, they were in the playoff. It's not like they didn't make the playoff or anything.
It wasn't the chip, baby. It wasn't the chip.
All right, so fans, CKA is actually doing some updated research on this, and this is why I caught our eye. We're going to do an updated study on our doctoral research that talked about student-athlete motivation from the perspective of Division 1, 2, 3, JUCO, NAIA. It's going to be a wide-ranging study on academic and athletic motivation, post-COVID, NIL, and transfer portal. We're also going to do some research on coaching today. What's it like to coach today, as well as presenting these findings in 2025. So I'm really excited about that. So as we close, the NCAA tournament begins next week. Men's tournament, women's tournament. We're all excited about it. So Wednesday's show, we'll focus on the men's tournament, and on our Thursday show, we will focus on the women's tournament. And again, it is strictly for entertainment purposes only. So on behalf of our Cavalcade of Stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams, saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.